It's about 5:30 p.m. Pacific time on Friday, April 25th, and I'm sure we've all heard by now about what has happened to Judge Dugan. I made a short video earlier this morning on my main TikTok account urging everybody to call their elected representatives after she was arrested and charged with obstruction because she didn't let ICE kidnap someone out of her courtroom. And I do use the word kidnap because they did not have a valid bench warrant. And this has been freaking a lot of people out. Initially, it definitely freaked me out. I said in my video this morning that I thought this was an escalation because they've been coming for big law, right? Trump has been intentionally attacking law firms, and now he and Pam Bondi are intentionally attacking the judiciary. They're going for sitting judges. This is an open threat against the judiciary, right? Like this right here, what happened to Judge Dugan, this is authoritarian shit. But then I saw Jamelle Bouie's video.
The criminal complaint is thin. Basically, she told the suspect, I guess, to go out of one door and not the other. And this was justification for the FBI to say that, oh, you're obstructing us. And there's been a directive from Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and Cass Patel to crack down on judges that are getting in the way of immigration enforcement. And so Dugan is, I guess, the first example to be made of. Now, obviously, this is a huge escalation from the administration. Arresting judges generally isn't the thing that we do in this country. But I want to say something. Before you take this to mean that the administration is growing ever more powerful, I would like you to consider the extent to which this major escalation, this brazen violation of power, may reflect, in fact, the administration's weakness here.
Yep, I think Jamelle's take is way better than mine is. I was saying this is obviously an escalation. It's very concerning. It shows that this authoritarian regime is really flexing their muscles. They feel like they are empowered to do more. But Jamelle's take is that they're losing in the courts. They're losing in the court of public opinion as well. Recent polling shows that the American people do not like what Trump is doing on immigration. They do not like what he's doing with the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case. We're seeing multiple judges weighing contempt. We're seeing multiple judges being like, fuck no, we are not letting you get away with this shit. We are seeing conservative judges appointed by Republican presidents who are saying this is absolutely unconstitutional. This is authoritarian dictator shit. Obviously, I'm not quoting them directly. That's my words. And so Jamelle is arguing that this arrest today, charging Judge Dugan with obstruction, that smacks of desperation. It makes them look weak. Jamelle went on to play a clip from Pam Bondi. You should go watch his whole video. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel and you aren't on TikTok, because I know a lot of y'all aren't, Jamelle has an Instagram as well. Jamelle went on to say that Pam Bondi looks unhinged in her interviews about this. And I want to share one more little clip of Jamelle's video here and talk about it. Also, before I do, let me just say, if you don't follow Jamelle Bouie, I have a lot of criticism of the New York Times, believe me, but there are good journalists who still work there, and Jamelle is one of them. I very much respect his opinion and analysis. I think he comes back to a reasoned and informed place, and he's really good about not sugarcoating things, but also not being catastrophic. And for all its issues, one of the things I really like about TikTok is the way that we can very quickly have an exchange of ideas, that we can, in our own heads, maybe spiral about something a little bit, maybe lead ourselves to a conclusion that might not be as informed as it should be, and maybe we really need to hear other perspectives. And I really enjoy being able to get on and look at what my mutuals are saying about a news story that I have read. And maybe they have a slightly different take on it, and maybe they have more expertise in that area. I am not infallible. We know that legacy media often will twist a story. And I really appreciate independent journalists. I know Jamelle works for legacy media, but he also is a journalist with really informed takes. So let me play this clip really quickly, because again, I appreciate that he brought something to this conversation. He had a take that I wasn't really thinking about. And the more I have sat with his video, I've rewatched it a couple of times now, I think this is the right take.
Well, to basically take the L, they're just ramping up and escalating and getting all the more aggressive. And I think that the actual result of this will not be to scare people, but to actually show that they're weak and lead other judges and other political actors to show even more opposition. And to that point, I think the only reasonable reaction Democrats should have to this right now is to use it as their justification for shutting down the Congress. Shut down Congress, deny unanimous consent in the Senate, which would force the Senate to operate at a snail's pace.
That right there is exactly the right thing to be doing. When I made that video earlier today and I was like, call your senators, call your congressmen, tell them that this is not okay, that they need to use their power and influence to stop this executive overreach. The intimidation of the judiciary, this authoritarian nonsense cannot be allowed to continue. Jamelle's take is better than mine. Yes, we need to call our members of the House and the Senate. But Jamelle's demand of them is far better than mine. The Senate needs to withhold unanimous consent. That is the consequence of what Trump is doing. If he's going to intimidate the judiciary, if he's going to play these authoritarian tactics, the Senate needs to withhold unanimous consent. I think there's a snowball's chance of Chuck Schumer doing that, but they need to. And we need to be calling them and telling them they need to do that. Also, quickly here, the thing that Jamelle said at the beginning of that clip about how what happened today will probably embolden judges to take a stronger stand for the rule of law. It will galvanize people, much like we saw with Columbia buckling and folding, becoming a collaborator with fascists. It had unintended consequences for Trump. Hundreds of other colleges and universities have all bonded together to take a united stand against him. I think we will see the same reaction from the judiciary. I think it's not going to intimidate them at all. It's not going to get them to do Trump's bidding. I don't know if any of y'all are attending Congresswoman Jayapal's online resistance labs. If you're not, you should sign up for the next one. Our local Indivisible chapter actually replayed part of the last kind of webinar and did breakout activities on it last night, which was awesome. And it was actually good for me to rewatch part of what the guest, Dr. Erica Chenoweth, had to say. We cannot be too steeped in that kind of an education right now. But anyway, one of the things that Congresswoman Jayapal talks about is the cost on perpetrators. When a perpetrator like Donald Trump, like Pam Bondi, when they overstep, when they screw up, there could be a cost for them. It could be an economic cost. It could be them plummeting in the ratings. We are watching both happen to Trump. But there's also the cost of the growth in opposition. When they flex their authoritarian muscle, when they attempt to overreach, it causes the opposition to be emboldened. It causes more people to find their courage and to resist more strongly. And I think Jamelle is right. What we're going to see here in terms of unintended consequences of today's actions, of the overreach of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Donald Trump, will be the growth of the opposition, both within the judiciary and the American public.